want me to put the little clips in the middle of it, or no?
That's a personal choice. That's the same show where somebody said to Luds something about a moose knuckle and got him laughing, and then we got creative. But anyway, speaking of creative, the Stars got a little creative today. 2-0 down. Boy, that's happened before. Rallied back, took the lead, gave up a goal in the dying minute, and then won in overtime. Miro the hero. Aren't we happy? Stars get a point and 2 this one. Their 11th win in their last 12 games. Start the post-game show right now on DLLS. Greetings and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the DLLS Stars post-game show. We are live here from the podcast studios because we've got double barrel action tonight. Mavs post-game, I think they're still going, or have they wrapped up yet, Ryan? They just started. So we got basketball down in the other room. We got Stars here, hockey. A lot of fun tonight. Craig Ludwig, I'm Owen Newkirk. Ryan Vodder's our producer. Sam Nestler joining us from the AAC in a little bit of time, a while. However, before we do, talk about our St. Patrick's Day shirts. I could just point at Luds, but look at these. All the different varieties available on our All-City merch store. Go to alldls.com, click on merch, and you can find these. If you would like to have a great-looking DLLS or technically one of the other All-City shirts, but I don't know why you wouldn't go for a DLS one, Luds is wearing his Day Drinking Champion shirt. So if you take a look at the main camera here, I don't know why, Luds, today's shows have all been about plural or singular. That there's no need for plural here.
I'm sitting here looking at it going, there's an S on this thing.
There is.
What the hell is there an S on here for? Do I have like 7 friends with me?
Do you have a team?
No, we would all have to be standing next to each other for it to make sense.
So you'd have to have multiple shirts with
I do have
people.
a good team, though.
I bet you do.
I do have a good team.
So we all think of Luds as the guy at the top of the mountain when it comes to this. The Grand Poobah. I like that. But
there's a shirt for you.
You do have more than one that can wingmen for such an occasion.
Yeah.
The Wahoo games.
They're big.
All right. Let's talk about this one. Stars win 4-3. Luds, this is a very different opponent than the one we saw on Friday. Obviously, the Blackhawks are not going to be a playoff contender. You're not going to have to worry about them that way. But they gave the Stars some fits. Now, over at the arena for the first 2 periods before I came back here, very different vibe. The atmosphere, the energy from the fans, not anything close to what we saw on Friday. Friday, when I finished our pregame show and zipped my scooter over to the AAC, there was still a line out the door at, 5 minutes to go before the anthem, 5 or 6 minutes or so, of people trying to get in. It was packed. And it was a Friday night. We know that a 7 o'clock game on a Friday after work traffic in Dallas is always pretty bad. So you can understand that. But it was jammed. The concourses were full, and the singing of the Stars chants in the anthem were very loud. It felt as close to a playoff atmosphere that we've had so far this season. Obviously, it's different once you get to the playoffs. Things get even more turned up to 11. This one felt closer to a preseason game for a while before it really started going. The crowd was I mean, they were into it, but it was quiet. Then the Hawks scored a couple goals. That didn't help. It felt like a Sunday matinee in March after a time change than it did. Stars Avalanche the other night felt very much like a playoff game.
It was. I mean, we expect it to be a playoff series. And I think the other thing is a lot of big stars on that Colorado team. And, and so today's game, a little different vibe to it. And again, where Chicago is. They're at the bottom of the league pretty much. And then they move players out again. And so besides Connor Bedard, I don't know how many guys would call big names there. But, they put up a fight as much as they can. And I said in the pregame, like, you don't always expect this to be a blowout because you're going to get an effort for another team. Plus, you're missing a couple key pieces, obviously, for the Stars, and in Hintz and Rantanen and that coming back, and so which would have been nice to maybe not have. Maybe Hintz shouldn't have played against Colorado, but I just think that we're close enough to playoff time where we know that there's going to be some competitiveness, and this is just one of those hard games that you just got to get through, and they got through it. They found a way to collect both points.
And it doesn't matter style points here, right?
Not at all.
I mean, you want your team to play the right way. This wasn't. I didn't get the feeling the Stars were playing loose, fancy hockey. I think this was just a grind.
No, they played a grinding game. I think they had the right approach. It was going to be, you got a couple new guys in the lineup, you got a couple key guys out of the lineup, and so you don't have that finesse, so to speak, and flying up and down the ice and making the pretty passes. The power play is not going to be tic-tac, tic-tac, tic-tac-toe in the net kind of thing. It's going to be more bludgeon it into the net, and we saw some of that.
Yep.
So it was going to be one of those games, and it was. And again, I think you may look at the score and go, and even going to overtime, and them scoring a late goal, and so, man, that was, no, it was just one of these kind of games.
How'd you feel about the new guys? Tyler Myers, Michael Bunting making their Stars debuts. Take us through your thoughts of your first impressions of them in Victory Green.
I guess I probably watched Myers more so because I think he's a piece that you can add on the back end. First off, there's always going to be a change in chemistry. And I thought him and Bishop they moved the puck well between each other. When they want to be physical, they're physical. I think, Myers he had 4 or 5 hits tonight. I mean, where did they have down for him? He's got... he had 3 hits. He had 3 hits. It was a -2, so, I mean, that's not going to be a happy start for him.
Only played 13 minutes. Gully said he wanted to ease him in.
Yeah, and their average shift length is, 40, 50 seconds a shift, and so they were pretty much on both of those guys. There were a couple missed things of Myers. I think that there was a result of one of the goals where Myers lets his guy get past him at the blue line. He ultimately makes the pass out that scores a goal. But again, you got to give this is his first game in over a month,
yep.
So, and a new team and everything else. So you can make up all the excuses you want, but he moves the puck well. He skates really well for a big guy. Not afraid to hang around the offensive blue line and use that shot of his. So, I think for Bunting for me kind of just blended in, which is nice. I mean, he didn't stand out. I don't think he was a plus. Oh no, he had an assist tonight.
On the Bourque goal.
Yeah, he had an assist tonight. So I think he's kind of as expected, what you expect from him.
He ended up being even, so he's on the ice for a goal against too.
So I think again for both these guys getting their feet wet with a new team, I think they both did well.
The thing I think that we'll see, I like the tenacity of that line. Bunting, Hryckowian, Ernie. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I do think that Bunting could be a guy, if you put him with better players, that has that scoring touch. That's why they got him. He's not just a go to the net and grind it kind of guy. He can be a finisher as well as a good forechecker and a good soldier. And we'll do our breakdown in a minute, but there was a chance pretty early on that Sam Steele and Matt Duchene on a 2-on-1. Duchene feathers. I wanted Duchene to shoot it. He feathers the pass.
Was that the double clutch?
It was the one where he caught it and then whiffed.
Well, no, he double clutched
Steele
it.
did.
He got it, and I think he was going to try to make a play. I don't know what he was actually going to try to do, but let's just say it got away from him.
Yeah, he didn't get the shot off. And I looked at Sam and I go, I think that's why Mikko Rantanen wants somebody else on that side. Yeah. Not that Mikko has said as such, but we've seen enough times. Like, it's neat lately that Steele has been putting the puck in the net with Duchene, and he's good. He's a great player. But there are certain guys that have a knack for when they get the chance to put the puck on the net, they do.
I was actually surprised that Matt passed that, not because it was Sam Steele, but because of the way that the
position.
Well, the way the defenseman played him he started sliding off and he started sliding over to Steele, and so I thought Matt had a pretty good lane to the net where he could have taken that shot. And I guess in hindsight, but again, but as we always say, Matt Duchene is a passer first. That's just what he leans to first.
Well, with going back to Bunting, I think he fits very well on a hard check and grinding line, but I'm really curious to see, and again, it may have to be a little while because, who knows how long Hintz will be out now. We know that Rantanen's still a few weeks away at least before they have a couple extra pieces where they then have to break up the way they have now. But, I mean, frankly, if you look at the way that they trotted out their lines, Robertson, Johnston, and Bourque have been really successful.
Yep.
Lately, Steele, Duchene, and Ben have been excellent. I don't know if other than maybe we saw Bunting out there with Bourque in the beginning of the third period that's led to that goal. But really, Luds, when you think about it, like the way they have it set up, minus maybe a guy moving here or there, is probably going to be how it looks until they get a couple more of those, the two big Finns back.
Yeah, I would think that besides, the top line right now with Robo and Wyatt and Mavrik out there, besides that line, the other three lines are going to just be more of a direct type of game. I mean, you're not going to see a lot of cross-ice passes and get across the tops of the circles and try to feather something through a bunch of people. I think you're going to see a lot of directness, and that's kind of the way that Ritz goes about his business, and he drags you into, as far as that line goes. So, yeah. But again, you would rather have that than get below the tops of the circles and then make an extra pass, and it ends up being where you don't even get any kind of a shot or quality shot. So I just think that if there's going to be any kind of passing going on, it's going to come from, probably Wyatt to Robo, back to Wyatt to Robo, and then I think when Mavrik has got the puck, he may make a pass, but he's playing more of a direct type of game too. And you look at where he's been tonight again. I mean, he's getting into those dirty areas and he's getting rewarded for it.
I don't know how much you have thoughts on the Stars' power play tonight against one of the best penalty kills in the NHL. And yes, as much as the Blackhawks have been a team of streaks, and we showed you in the pregame show that they have the number 1 rated penalty kill in the NHL. Dallas had not scored in the first 2 meetings against Chicago this year with the man advantage. They finally did in a really important moment in the third period to get them that goal that sort of we thought might be the game winner from Ritz. We'll talk about that. But in the other power plays, they had 3 today, the first 2. Did you see anything that Chicago did to really frustrate the Stars power play? Or was it just the Stars group not? I mean, where'd you lean on that? Because that is literally the number 1 power play.
The first time penalty kill that Dallas had talked about playing against Chicago, and Gully had made a comment about they're a little bit different, a little old school on the penalty kill. What they do is, I think the reason that they changed it a little bit, I don't know if they changed it when the first time they played against Dallas, is because Dallas likes to make extra little passes here and there. When they get it to the goal line, especially, they will try to make an extra pass across the crease into the slot. And that was, to me, that's a good move to do that, because you have to get away from that and you have to take pucks to that. What did you see tonight when it got down to the goal line? Bring it out. Pucks were brought out because Wyatt would bring it out, Mavrik would bring it out, and it's that cram play. Ritzy brings it out, and then what you do is you just drop people down to the front of the net and you create the battle. There was one where a defenseman, I think it ended up in a goal. Oh no, that's the one that they actually went off of them into the net. But anyway, you play a little bit more dirty and direct, and that's what happens. And you get more numbers there, and you fight for rebounds. And so that was the little tweak. I think that Chicago probably says, you know what, we're not going to allow an easy goal that goes across all of us, and then it's an open, it's an empty netter on the other side, and you're gonna throw it at the goaltender. And again, to me, it creates a lot of issues for penalty killers, and then usually they end up being on the outside looking in.
And go back to the original thought of they played a grinding game. I mean, by the end of the game, Luds, the Stars had a 32-17 edge in shots, 64-38 in shot attempts. I had high dangers at 12-6. That's a pretty substantial difference. They had a huge edge in faceoffs. They had a massive number in hits, 27-10. I don't even remember the last time the Stars had that big of a hit disparity in their favor. This is the kind of game where you come off of a huge matchup against a fierce, not only division rival, but playoff rival in Colorado, and you wonder if you might have a bit of a letdown. You look like you're outplaying a team. You fall behind 2 early goals, and you go, man, this is just not our day. It didn't happen. Is there something of encouraging signs to take that they, not because it's, they beat the Blackhawks, but they stuck to their game, and it ultimately ended up, I know they gave up a 6-on-5 goal again, and that will be a concern, but is there some positivity you take from them kind of sticking with the formula and it paying off?
I think they're all taking positivity out of this game, mainly because of a couple guys out of the lineup. Like I said, 2 new guys in, and they stayed with their game plan. They stayed, and I think that's so nice to be able to play different kind of games at times. We know Gully wants a little bit more physicality, which he's getting. But when you get other players back, your best players, there starts to be a little bit more the passing and things like that. But the way that they needed to go about this game was to direct more traffic and get the ugly stuff, and they did. And I think that pays. Again, that's more playoff hockey too. I mean, it's what you want a lot of times. You'd like your your best players to play that way also. You know, I mean, you don't want to take their skill away from them until the right time, and that's generally on the power play. But you want to be tough to play against. You want to be able to push teams, grind teams, and wear teams down over the course of 7 games when you get to the playoffs.
And aside from giving up 3 goals, the 6-on-5 to Bedard and having to go to overtime, if you say to your group, if you're Glenn Gulletson, you look and you say 17 shots against, only 38 attempts against, 18 quality chances, only 13 at 5-on-5. And in the end of the day, like, you take those numbers. That you gave up very little. Now, there were some moments, right? There were some good looks from Chicago, but I felt over the course of 65 minutes, well, not quite 65 minutes, that there wasn't a whole lot that Chicago did. I thought Dallas really was, I don't want to say comfortable, but I thought they were pretty suffocating.
Well, I think they were confident. I mean, most of all, I think when you got down to a team like this by a couple goals, you know, they've been down to real good teams in the league, and they've found ways to claw back and win hockey games late and things like that. So I think right now what you're doing is building a lot of confidence within the group. And I think now probably the 2 new guys that came in, they kind of see how this team competes and how they go about their business. And I think those kind of guys are brought in anyways. If there's some kind of an identity for a program and a team that it is, you want to add pieces that understand that identity and that can fit into that, and I think they do that. I think Tyler Myers, and I don't know if he's going to stay with Liam Bichel, and I think when their chemistry gets to where it is, which was actually pretty good when you watch their passes going back and forth, and they hinge and they go D to D to D at times, and it's pretty good. Liam Bichel kind of gets running and times. He wants to take an extra hit and he pulls himself out of position, but he'll get that straightened out. I don't know. They may put him, like you said, they may flip that and put him up there with Thomas Harley, but right now they look good together, and it may be a pair you can lean on a little bit more than just your normal number 6.
And maybe that takes a little bit of the pressure off of Harley and Lundqvist then.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Thomas likes that.
No,
I'm
sure
Thomas
he
wants
doesn't.
as much ice time as he can. So, and we'll see what happens again in the playoffs, because this is what has happened to Nils, right, over the course of the last couple seasons, and all of a sudden they seem to want to take minutes away because of the grind in the playoffs. And so, maybe they flip-flop though too, or maybe Lyubushkin comes in at that time, depending on who you're playing against and what kind of series that you have going on.
All right, up next, we will break it all down. We've got some interesting ones for you. Stars beat the Blackhawks here at the AAC. Our post-game show rolls on with What the Puck next. Shoot your shot with Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. Prize Picks makes every dunk, dime, every board, or since we're a hockey show, every pass, every shot, every goal that much more exciting. So don't miss your chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Prize Picks, of course, is simple to play. Just make your picks more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. Pick from all of your favorite sports, anything from basketball, baseball, hockey, UFC, Ludz's favorite, soccer, college basketball, tennis, golf, esports, and more. So, super simple. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code DLLS and get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Unfortunately, Texas has some of the highest property taxes in the country. Yeah, it's that time of year again. For any homeowner, it's not really the fun part. But then you can use Ownwell and make that a little bit better, maybe save some money in the process. Ownwell uses cutting-edge technology and local experts to help save you time and money, and it's super easy to do. Sign up takes about 3 minutes. It's seamless. They will get you an estimate of tax savings. There's a seamless online setup, and of course, Ownwell has a significantly higher success rate of saving money for their clients than traditional agents. Ownwell can protest your county tax assessment and determine your eligibility for exemptions, for which Texas, of course, has many opportunities. 88% of Ownwell's customers get their assessed values reduced and save money on their property taxes. Save time and money on your property taxes with Ownwell. Only pay if you save. Go to ownwell.com/Texas to learn more. That's OWNWELL.com/Texas. So our chat is buzzing about the Buffalo Sabres Tampa Bay Lightning game, which I unfortunately haven't been able to watch, but it looks like a chaotic, crazy, fun hockey game. Might be one willing not just to watch a recap, but maybe actually sitting down and watching the full replay. Mark Stein is here. He's doing the Mavs post game right now. He's a massive Buffalo Sabres fan, legit. And every time I see the two of you in the same room, which he came by earlier, I'm thinking, well, it's been a while since both the Stars and the Sabres were good at the same time, and here we are, Luds. Could we be seeing a reunion of 99? Maybe, you never know.
He still hasn't paid up for the New Year's Eve game that he lost.
Maybe he'll give you a triple or nothing.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the what the puck, because the Stars beat the Blackhawks tonight 4-3, extending their team point streak to 12 games. They are 11-0-1 in that stretch. They're 3 behind Luddy's team from 99 that has a 15-game point streak as the franchise record. But Luds, this starts way before the Miro Heiskanen winner. Let's talk about this guy, Tyler Bertuzzi, that keeps having...
We always talk about this guy.
Why is he always so good against the Dallas Stars?
One reason, he's in front of the net, and he doesn't get removed from the front of the net. But what he does, what the puck, is he sets up shop early. And once you let someone of his size, and he's got good hands in here, once he sets up on top of the crease, he becomes a problem. And so... I've always said that it's a bit of a mistake for defensemen, and to just let him go there, you can make it a little bit more competitive before he gets there. But anyway, once he's there, you can see where this is Thomas Harley. He just is locked on to the shooter. And by the time this shot comes, Harley ultimately puts himself right in front of his goaltender. So you can see what Casey's looking through right here, which is another brick wall that it's tough to see. And Bertuzzi sets himself up to where he can step to the side. He looks probably over the right shoulder, and you can see he gets a bit of the shaft on this one. And, you know, it was a good shot that comes in to be able to miss Harley. But and again, this isn't on Nils. I think Nils did a good job by boxing out his guy here. I think that Thomas needed to look around. He got attracted to the puck before all of this actually happened. As play comes across the offensive blue line for the Stars, or for the Blackhawks, Thomas kind of gets locked on, and he starts watching here, and he allows Bertuzzi to get to where he sets up shop. And one of the things is, especially when you play against Dallas Stars, and you don't want that easy ice to be there, and Bertuzzi just takes it up.
It's amazing how good he was. He was +3 tonight, but he had his 8th goal in his 18th career game against the Dallas Stars. Now, remember, he's been on a few different teams, but it seems like no matter where he goes, 17 points, 18 career games against Dallas, 8 goals.
I think he's had a couple 2-goal games.
Yeah, it probably
at
sounds
least
right.
2 of them. So, yeah, he's been a problem. He's been a problem. But again, that's the way he plays the game against every team. And so there's other teams that they play a little bit differently in front of their goaltender, and you try to receive that player when he starts to come to the net and make it a little bit more difficult for him to get in there instead of just kind of laying a red carpet down for him.
Well, one of the big talking points was Tyler Myers playing his first game as a Dallas Star after being traded from Vancouver, playing with Leon Bichel. And Luds, you have some things to show about the way the pair dynamics have worked.
Well, I mean, the first shift that we saw with them together, and here they are. This is their first shift together, and it was nice because I immediately went, oh, we're going to see a little bit of this. Well, it starts out with Bichel, and normally we see Bichel come over, and he ends up finishing his guy right here. Myers comes in, goes down behind the goal line. He's going to finish his guy down here. You know, he lets them squeak out, but he lets them squeak out not going behind the net into the corner. So I think they started out with that kind of being physical. I'm sure they talked about it. Said, listen, you know, we're 14 feet tall between the two of us, and I don't know, 400 or 500 pounds, whatever they may be. So let's make sure people feel it. But sometimes here's what happens with Leon is he wants to come in, and he gets a little too aggressive. And when he does that, now all of a sudden you end up having both of your defensemen behind the net or behind the goal line, and then ultimately there's some space that cracks here. And I think that's something that definitely going to get fixed and reined in from Leon. But you want him to be a physical guy, but he just has to pick his spots, and you have to understand where your partners are and where the dangerous areas versus taking yourself from a good spot to a bad spot.
The reason why we showed that in that moment was because it kind of showed itself in the second goal for Chicago.
Yeah, well, it was actually both of them. And Myers on the wall, and you can see, I believe this is Teravainen that's on the wall, but Myers goes in here. He doesn't really have the proper spot, and he just rolls off the back of Teravainen. I believe that's who it is. I'm guessing here again, but I believe that's who it is. And then now when this play comes down to the goal line, This is what I'm talking about. This is now you're the defenseman. You know where your partner is? Well, he's hung up above the top of the circle. Leon goes into this pile, gets a little bit tied up, and then ultimately Teravainen, I believe, is the guy that passes this puck out to the goal scorer. And so if Leon holds his ice there and just lets his forward do the work, maybe it buys time for Myers to get back into the play. But he doesn't. He comes in here, and then ultimately I think this is Beck that has to come down in here. That's what opens up the space, because Beck has to come down here because that's where Bishop should be. If Bishop's there, then this play isn't open in the slot like this.
And Rinzel scores. It's 2-0. The collision behind the net between Oliver Moore and Colin Blackwell that led to the chaos as Teravainen plays it out in front didn't look good. They were all tangled up. Moore left. Looked like he was grabbing his right knee, which was not good to see. Blackwell hobbled as he got up, but he was literally out there for the next
face-off.
Yeah. He seemed okay.
Yep.
I don't think Moore came back in the game. So that's not good news for a very promising young center for the Blackhawks. They have a lot of young guys on their team, but he's one of those guys that they're hopeful for a long time. So that was tough to see. However, Luds, a guy who you wouldn't necessarily expect to be offensive suddenly is, because Nathan Bastian scored his 6th goal of the season, and he just had, now counting tonight, 3 in his last 5. Kind of on a heater.
Well, just another guy that understands what his role is and where to be. And again, what he does is he gravitates the net. What I like about the whole start of this play is when you play against a team that likes to collapse, you want to get the puck from low to high as quick as you can, and that's exactly what Oscar Beck does. He gets the puck here, nice little bounce pass off the wall, and you trap 5 guys down below the faceoff dots. So ultimately, puck comes out to the point. Leon gets his head up. He takes a little space, and then this is when Bastian comes to the front of the net. And again, I like the way that, and the reason I show this is defensemen, again, try to get stick, and lift it, and I think Bastian has a lot to do with getting this away. He puts himself in a good spot. And it's another one that hits the stick and hits the shaft of his stick, by the way. And then a fortunate bounce into the net. But again, for Bastian, it just seems like every time he's in the lineup, it's like every 2 or 3 games, he gets an opportunity. They're not pretty goals. They're not tic-tac goals and highlight goals, but they're just blue-collar goals.
Yep. I'm trying to not make a really inappropriate joke about a couple of shafts, but
I kind of did that for you.
You did. 2-1 Bastian. That's how the period came to a close. Stars with a massive lead in shots, 13-6. They didn't necessarily translate those into a ton of great scoring chances. They had lots of chances, but not a lot of high dangers in that first period. But boy, Luds, in the second, did they ever, as they kept chugging along. They had 2 power plays, one in the first where the first unit didn't look great. Hryckowian had a couple of good looks. Then in the second, Wyatt Johnston had a great opportunity right at the crease. He did the thing you talked about where he kind of curled around and went in, but then he shot it and he just got under it and skied it right over the crossbar from a very, very acute angle. But then you've got Bourque on a 2-on-1 from Wyatt. Huge save from Söderblom. Blackwell had 2 good chances. Again, the Chicago goalie was really, really sharp. Casey DeSmith had to make good saves against both Frank Nazar and Ryan Donato. And so you go to the third period, it's still 2-1. But after 40 minutes of play, the shot totals are 2-1 and the chances are 2-1. And it just felt like everything but the score was in favor of Dallas.
Well, you mentioned their goaltender. Söderblom is the reason that this game is what it was.
Yes.
I mean, especially early, first half of the game, he was excellent. I mean, he was making save after save, and then all of a sudden it just seemed to kind of collapse on him.
Well, let's go to the third period because it took very little time in that final frame and maybe this is the thing you always talk about is get an early goal. Well, it happened inside the first 42 seconds. Instead of having the period start to get away from you and chasing and then things getting a little nervy on the first shifts, Dallas ties the game.
Yeah, I think it's key because you're at home, number one, and the opponent is going into the room going, man, we're lucky where we are right now. And then all of a sudden you get that early one. But again, with the pressure, you come in, makes a little play, pick up a puck. Mavrik here picked the puck off from behind. This one here, this is how this play actually started. I kind of laughed when I saw the replay of it. Nils comes down behind the goal, and he's actually trying to make a pass back out, probably short side where he's coming from. But then all of a sudden somebody slipped a net in there, and somehow Nils didn't know it was there, and he just drills the puck right into the back of the net. But it worked out because now end up, and Mavrik ends up with the tech. But this is all about the forecheck. Take time and space away.
There's our boy Bunting.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden in comes Mav, and look at, again, the way that they want to allow people to come to the front of the net, and Mav takes up the space. And then you get a bit of a reward here. You get a bit lucky, but big deal. Nazar's on his way back, and it ultimately hits him in the glove, I think it was, and then it just kind of bounces past Söderblom.
Off the post on the left side from the Bourque backhander, off Nazar and in. And so Mavrik Bourque gets the goal, which is his 13th of the year, ties the game right away. Stars get another power play. At this point, Chicago had not had a man advantage. This was their third. And after really struggling to get goals against this very, very good Chicago penalty kill, it's Ritzy Ritz that cracks the armor. We thought for a minute it might be Mavrik Bourque, and Bourque may be the one that actually propelled this one in the net, but Ritzy gets credit for it.
Yeah, again, it's about the way that they want to kill penalties, but really what happens is with Wyatt understanding this bumper position, and you find a hole in the middle of the ice somewhere because of the way that they want to kill. So there's that big hole there. Ritzy gets the puck, and again, this is what their defensemen are doing. He didn't fall down. He's trying to take that cross-ice pass away, which is what they want to do, apparently. That allows people to come to the front of the net. Ritzy does this, and there's Bourque, and then here it is. This is Ritzy Ritz's stick that's going to hit this puck first. So Mav and him both ultimately swing at this puck at the same time. And I don't know, Mav's stick may have hit Ritzy to help him put this one in the net, but it was going in anyway. So ultimately, Ritzy Ritz gets the goal.
Hryckowian gets the goal. We had talked about just the other day, and maybe this is the DLS reverse curse, that he had gone 10 games without scoring a goal, and now he has goals in back-to-back games. He has 10 on the season. So when you're talking about a rookie who was, not highly sought after when he was in college, comes to Dallas undrafted, then he has a huge year in the AHL with the Texas Stars, right? Now he comes up here. We weren't sure if he was going to make the team or not. He does. And now he's got double-digit goals, and we still have got almost 20 games left. I think he's in a good spot right now.
I'm not sure. Like a few months ago or a month or so, did I compare him to Brendan Morrow? We were talking about him a little bit.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about the way his style of play.
Yeah, but look at, you go back, and how many goals he got? Dozen?
He's got 10 now.
He's got 10.
10. Yep.
I bet you if you go and look, like, eight or nine of them are coming from that same area all the time.
It's not long distance sniping.
No, he's a player. He's you call him a greasy player, and I go, Gully has said that about a couple guys here. He goes in and he's willing to pay the price to score goals, and you get him in there, and he's not going to leave. And so he's hungry. He's a hungry player, not necessarily to score the goal, but to make sure that it's the first and second. See, that was one of the other things that stood out for me tonight. How many second chances Dallas got from scoring chances, from pucks that were put on net? Like, they won the battles to get there, and they won those 50-50 puck battles in front of the net, and in the corners and the walls too, but there was more hunger to get in front. It was just a goaltender that was making some big timely saves.
Chicago finally gets a power play late in the third period. Bedard had a great chance in the slot, but a really good save by Casey DeSmith. But 6-on-5, they get a goal. Bedard with a lot of traffic.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I kept looking, and I'm like, man, haven't seen Bedard a lot. I mean, I've seen him, but he wasn't getting a lot going on
until the third period.
I think he only had 2 shots tonight. So, and one of them went in the net.
And one of them went
in. But again, big time players, and 6-on-5. Again, this one here though, it actually hit Tyler Myers in his left shin pad, and that's what actually ricocheted in. But Bedard, all he was doing, he was trying to get the puck to the net. He does, and big Tyler Myers. Now that's the other thing. So for me, you're a big defenseman like that. I know you don't want to take up the vision, but when you've got that many players, you get in front of the shot. And he ends up, I think what he's doing is he's standing off to the right of Casey because he doesn't want to take his vision away, right. But his vision is already taken away. So I'm more like, I'm getting in front of you, and I'm going to do everything I can to get on. And I think if he's actually 5 inches more to his left, the puck hits him in the shin pads, and may still want to win, but at least it doesn't go off him and in.
So that forces overtime. We saw Minnesota and Colorado go past regulation and then into a shootout this afternoon, which was what we were hoping not to see 3 points. But Dallas and Chicago at that point, I think once Chicago tied it, Stars, they had another chance from Miro, but they didn't care. They got the point. They go to overtime. And unlike some Luds where the 3-on-3 builds its tension, this took 22 seconds.
Yeah, it was a quick one. So, yeah, and again, I couldn't even tell if what Miro did, if he did anything. I mean, Duchene,
He just did the middle lane drive.
Saucer pass there, and it looks like, I don't even know if it hit him on the top of the stick. Miro looked as surprised that it went in the net than anybody else on the ice. So, but again, get it over with quick.
All right, that is it. Stars win 4-3. We will hear from Sam next.
Sam,
and don't forget your super chats after that on the DLLS Stars postgame show.
Sam the tree.
But first, it's you.
Oh yeah. Should we start with the shirt? Because we don't understand why it says champions. I think, we are the champions, I guess. So anyway, there's our St. Patty's stuff. We're gonna wait. I gotta get the little leprechaun guy with the yellow. I'm not even sure if that's a beer or he's juggling a yellow ball. What is it? I can't tell from here.
Who else in the leprechaun say yeah? Yeah!
I like that. You could keep playing that over and over again.
It just
Wyatt didn't do anything tonight, so the hell with him. Let's go to the. You know what? Let's go to the Mafia. We got to look at the hoodie, the stringless hoodie, because we could use a couple. I'll just keep talking until you find the button, Ryan. There it is. We could use a couple of these guys back, and now we didn't get great news on rope there, but we'll see. As long as they're back for the playoffs, that's what matters for us. And then we got to pull out the Jamie Benn shirt because Jamie. I don't know. Was he MIA tonight? Did you see much of Jamie Benn out there?
He's quieter than usual.
He was quiet tonight. Yep. So anyway, we got to get a little bump for the captain.
Yep. He did have a couple shots, but he ended up a little minus.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, though. All right, let's talk about the Supporters Club because we will spend more time talking about being a diehard in our next ad break. But right now, of course, just a little extra for those true sickos. Get special badging. You know how much badges make you stand out. Plus, you get access to those exclusive emojis that you would otherwise not be able to use. Those are a lot of fun. It just, when you're in a live show for DLLS, whether it's the Stars, Mavs, Rangers, Cowboys, you can see those chats just a little bit more. You're a little bit more highlighted. And at the end of each month, I believe, or at least once a month, you get a Supporters Club message, which works kind of like a super chat. So a lot of fun. Sign up today to be a Supporters Club member, and you can be the true sicko level kind of stuff. All right. Let us now turn to American Airlines Center to, as Luds calls him, the tree.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe we should call him the shrub.
Oh, the little bush.
Sam Nestler joins us from the AAC. Sam, we're having fun over here. Are you having fun over there?
Yeah, they got, how they normally have the really, really mini candy bars, like the Halloween, not the mini Halloween, but the even smaller.
You're talking about the fun size that are no fun.
Yeah, but the even more fun size, like the ones that are like a tiny square. They got the regular fun size, Three Musketeers in here today. So I think everyone's having a good time.
I'm glad you're happy about these slightly. Okay. Where are we going with this, Luds?
I was going to say no comment a long time ago.
Did everybody get through the game unscathed tonight, including Colin Blackwell?
Yeah, he was fine after that. I mean, fine, maybe the wrong word. He looked like he was not putting any weight on his leg after that collision with Oliver Moore, but he actually skated right off. Oliver Moore got helped down the tunnel, and Blackwell went to the bench. And I always thought that was tough of him to stay on the bench. And then they called his line out to stay on the ice, and he went back on the ice. So he was fine. This shouldn't be something you have to ask, but with this team, I feel like we should just ask every day whether or not someone got injured.
The post-game comments from the Blackhawks suggest that they weren't real thrilled with a couple of things. One, that the Stars tilted the ice against them a fair amount. I'm reading from Jeff Blashill here. And also, he thought that Chicago passed up on some shots. He's trying to push them to have a bit more of a shooting mentality. What were some of the post-game thoughts from Glenn Gulletson today?
Well, first of all, I'm surprised Chicago is not mad that Bedard didn't draw a 5-minute major for that incredibly hard hook that Wyatt Johnston got him with to draw that penalty for the second power play. That was crazy. I don't know how he ever played another shift. But I will say the vibes down here.
I was going to hold up my sarcasm sign.
Yes, sarcasm. No, the vibes down here are good. It's actually, similar to what I expected it to be, which is that they never had doubt in this team. And we know that. We know how veteran this group is. We know how calm they can be. But it can be tough, right? They had every excuse going into this game to lose, right? We talked about it in the pregame. It's a 5:00 game. The building was nowhere near the same type of vibes that it was on Friday. You put all your emotion into Friday to try to get the win. You end up not getting the win in a pretty dramatic fashion. It's a sleepy start. It's bad team. They had every excuse to lose, and then they go down 2-0, and you really have every excuse. I mean, I personally thought this was going to turn into a 3-1 game. You get one, but you never really get that close, and they put an empty netter in, and you just chalk it up to a tough timing. But they found a way to just dig down and keep playing, and I think Chicago was up 2-0, but then they were stuck on 6 shots for like a 20-minute span almost before they got their next shot on goal. They ended up with something like 13 or 14, I think, in the game. The Stars were the better team in this game, and they went into each locker or each intermission in the dressing room and said exactly that. We know we're playing well. We're down 2-0. Then we're down 2-1. Now we're somehow still down 2-1, even though we pretty much dominated the period. Let's just go out and play the game. And they came out seconds, maybe a minute, whatever it was in the third, to get that goal to tie the game. From then on, it felt like no doubt. The reason it went to overtime, as you talked about, was the lucky bounce on the late goal. They were the better team, and I think that those are the moments that I think this group is a step up on other teams, where every team says they're calm and confident, and we believed, but this team lost a lot of bad games in the past few years, games like this. Whereas tonight, they just said, we're not losing this game, despite all the things they had before and how the game went. And then even after giving up the goal, they still come out and just take over and win the game early.
Sam, were there any thoughts on the two new guys? Especially, the line Bunting was on, and then the pairing for Tyler Myers?
Yeah, nothing much on the specific line. They did like how Bunting fit in with that line because Glenn Goldson pointed out he's loved Ernie and Hryckowian together. That's the pair he's really liked. Good chemistry, but also they just feed off each other. It's like Ernie goes for a hit, Hryckowian says, all right, I gotta go get one, and they chase each other around the ice. So he liked how Bunting fit into there. We know that style fits in perfectly for him. For Myers, he said the same thing. They looked good. There were moments. There's going to be the big one I think I mentioned in the pregame is Myers' different style he was playing in Vancouver. So this is a bigger shift for him to just kind of understand when to go, when to not go. Luds, you talked about all season, right? The Stars in the beginning were still trying to get out of that in their minds a little bit. We saw guys chasing around. So Myers, he wasn't great, but I don't think we were expecting him to be great right off the bat. He had a couple of plays. He made the wrong read. Obviously, the shot goes in off of him, which is not anything he's doing wrong. But I think Goldson just said, you know what? We like both of them. They got in. They got adjusted. And I think they thought it was really important for them both to watch Friday's game from up here. The full crew was up here, every injured player, including Sagan, up here in this room watching the game together. I think it was good to see how the team was playing from up top, like every other, scratch or whatever, but also to get a vibe of the building, feel the excitement. Both players are very excited to be here and have a chance to chase the Stanley Cup.
And Luds made this comment in the pregame show, but Tyler Myers' last game was February 4th against the Vegas Golden Knights. So it had been a month and a couple extra days since he had played a game. Now, he played 20 minutes and 48 seconds, which was pretty average for him for Vancouver this year. But tonight he played 13, 7 minutes fewer than average, almost 8 minutes. And that's fine. That's sort of the plan. I would imagine that might ramp up a bit. The question is, if they intend for him to play 20 minutes, it may not be alongside Liam Bichsel the whole time.
Yeah, I think I don't know this. They haven't said it. The only thing they've said is that they believe both players can play up the lineup. And that I truly believe they believe that. Otherwise, I don't think the deals make a ton of sense outside of that if they just think they're going to be third, fourth liners or third pairing extra defensemen. But I think the key for tonight, and not just for Myers, for the whole team, Goldson said they looked tired. He was like, I'll be honest with you. They were ready. They came out, they played hard, but we didn't have that extra pop. And he even said, I think it's going to make me reevaluate our schedule tomorrow, which they're still scheduled to practice. So I think that means they're just going to make it an optional, which is the worst case scenario. But on the other side of it, he really said, he was like, I love the way we dug down, but you could see it. You could tell that Friday's game took a lot out of them. I think for Myers, it's going to be interesting to see how he handles the bigger minutes in this type of game, because, with Vancouver, as we mentioned, they play a different style, but it's also, they've been losing games all year. Him playing 20 minutes over there, is nothing crazy, because he was one of their only top guys. They're losing a lot of hockey games. They're giving up a lot. He's got to play a little more of a disciplined game here. And I think the key for him to play with Harley, the guy we've been looking for forever to play with Harley, is one who allows him to be free, right? We want Harley to go up the ice. We don't want him to think twice about offense. But in order to do that, the guy next to him needs to be there to back up. He needs to be the Craig Ludwig that's going to make up for your one or two mistakes that you make. And Nils has been that lately, right? He's been so much better. I just don't know that that's his specialty. Whereas Nils is a little more of a guy who likes to jump up into the rush a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how they balance it here. But I would be shocked if we didn't at least see Myers play with Thomas Harley at some point.
It's interesting, too, because after tonight, the Stars play a very playoff-heavy schedule the rest of the way. So they have, 3, 7, 10, 12 more games the rest of the month. Okay? Of those 12 opponents, I see the Philadelphia Flyers as a non-playoff team. I see the New Jersey Devils. That's it. That means 10 of the next 12 will be against teams that are right now in a playoff spot. Vegas, Edmonton, Detroit, Utah, at Colorado, at Minnesota, Vegas again, then New Jersey, the Islanders, who have really transformed their team from last year to this year, the Penguins, Flyers, and Boston, just to wrap up the month of March. It's going to be a grind, but it's also, this is out to me, Luds, the dog days. We're in the it's like a long distance sprint to the playoffs because we're not in the final 100 meters yet. But this is going to be full steam ahead now for about 4 or 5 weeks.
Players know the schedule. You'd be fooling yourself to say they don't know who they're playing.
Yeah.
They probably know exactly what you've got done saying.
Of
so
course.
The reason I'm saying that is I would push back a little bit on what Gully said about maybe their energy tonight or their whatever he wanted to, however he labeled that, Sam. Because I think coming off of that Colorado game, I think there was a lot poured into that game. That was an emotional game. Yep. It was an important game. They knew it was a big game, and I think it was disappointing to lose the point. Let's just say that.
Especially because they had a empty net shot to ice the game and win in regulation.
That's what I think. And then you have an opponent that's coming in that is where they are. Mm-hmm. And you just naturally kind of dip a little bit, and then and then we've got this schedule coming up.
Yeah.
So I just think that, I don't know if it was about anything else, but that psychological big game. We're disappointed. We didn't get that extra point, what it could mean. Also knowing what happened this afternoon in the game between Minnesota and Colorado getting a couple extra points. I sometimes that mentally that just kind of gets you. And you'd say, well, you got to put that aside. Sometimes it's a little tough.
Well, Sam, we have a show tomorrow. We may or may not have a practice to talk about, but we have plenty of things to talk about. So we will look forward to seeing you in studio tomorrow with us. Thanks for the report, and try to get those sleepies because we got a busy week.
Go water the tree.
Right. It's early, boys. Can't wait. See you guys tomorrow.
It's a trap. He forgot to play it. That's okay. Up next, let's take your super chats here on the DLLS Stars postgame show. Send them. Hit us up. We'll take them. We'll talk about them next. But first, I promised I'd talk to you about being a diehard. We talk about Supporters Club a fair amount, and that's fun, but the diehard is grade A, number one. Support our show, support DLLS. Sign up to be a diehard. The QR code, if you need it, is scanned right near Luds' elbow, and you can go right to our website, alldls.com, click on diehard, sign up today. What does being a diehard give you? Well, lots of things, including access to all of the articles that are written on our site, whether it's Sam writing about the Stars, Sean, the Mavs, the Cowboys, the Rangers. You get access to all of those, even the stuff that's diehard only level, of course. Plus, as Sam likes to say, ad-free viewing, because when you're on those, there are some that are open to non-diehards, but all of them will be without ads if you're reading them with, of course, being a diehard. On the far side of that, then you have things like getting access to the Diehard Discord Lounge. It's diehard only. So, while you may enjoy the chat during a live show, which is a lot of fun, and boy, you never know what it is. In the Discord Lounge, it's only people that are currently DLS diehard. So, maybe don't get trolled as much by fans of other teams, although we appreciate you guys watching if you're a Blackhawks or a Canucks fan or a Avalanche fan or whatever. Even the Minnesota fans, right? And then, maybe, Ryan says. And then beyond that, of course, it creates that community because as a diehard, you get a merchandise discount, 20% off all merch. You get a free t-shirt for signing up for being a diehard, which is one of your choosing. It's not, oh, hey, you signed up. You could pick that one right there. You could literally be day drinking champions. And then Luds would question you why you're wearing that shirt, saying, who did you beat? You didn't beat me.
Well, then maybe there were champions. If we could. Well, no, you didn't beat me. You can join me.
That's right. He has a team apparently.
You
and
enjoy the championship team.
Quite talented. It also gets you access to events, or I should say discounts on events, but also early access and notifications when we do things like the Diehards only takeover. We did some Stars takeovers, which were open to everybody, but mostly Diehards because they got them first in that Discord. All that and more. Sign up today to be a Diehard. It really helps not only support our show, but give you top-level access to our site. Okay. If you would like to hit up some more Supers chats, please do. We do have one to start with, but we also have some other stuff we can talk about. But don't be afraid to hit us up with those. I know it's a Sunday night. I know that we had the time change. We sprung forward an hour, which means that it probably feels like 7:40 to some of you. And right now, it feels like it's about 11 o'clock at night. But nonetheless.
That's a good time.
You like 11?
I like 11.
Why?
It's my time.
All right.
It's when the coffin opens up.
I believe that. All right, so hit up those super chats, and we will start them off right now with Ryan and the Bing Bong.
Bing Bong.
All right, I Love Misty, 1985, with a Bastian and a Heiskanen. Not the prettiest way to get 2 points, but if it beats getting season swept by the bucking Blackhawks, apparently they're rodeo now, and after the Avs did us a solid by beating the Wild, even if it was in a shootout, bastards. I appreciate that one, by the way. I Love Misty. The game this afternoon was an interesting one, lads, because we were hoping that maybe, well, I don't know. I was kind of hoping that the power to the building in Colorado maybe goes out and they have to abandon the game without a result because, frankly, you don't want the Wild getting closer to the Stars chasing, and you don't really want Colorado to pull away anymore. I was just kind of hoping for a regulation win, so it was only 2 points.
So are we hoping for things bad to happen to teams now so we can earn your spot?
I'm not worried about bad things, but it's hard to cheer for the Avs or Wild.
Well, I don't think anybody's cheering for them. You mean who our opponent should be?
Or just the result. I think for me, I just wanted to see a 2-point game. We got a 3-point game.
Yeah, I think it is where it is. I think we're going to end up playing Minnesota as of right now.
I think we're all resigned to that fact.
Yeah, and again, but it's not going to be the same old.
No,
there's a couple different things there. So,
we're going to see Minnesota on the road in about 2 weeks?
Yeah.
No, not even a week and a half. A little less than 2 weeks. It's a week from Saturday. So you'd think that I know it's an afternoon game, and the Stars are notoriously slow starters on day games, but 3:00 Central Time in St. Paul on the 21st.
Yeah, and they'll be revved up. The fans are going to be revved up because they know. I believe that the fans. I don't not know. The fans believe that they are a way different team.
They should believe that.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're very excited, and Billy Guerin, our buddy, has done a good job. I mean, you got to give him credit.
Another one too. Stars Minnesota in Dallas on April 9th. It's a late game.
That's just when do the playoffs start then? When's the last game of the regular season?
For the Stars, the 15th. My guess would
17th maybe?
I think, no, there's a game on the 16th. There's games for the league. So I think the 18th, which is that Saturday.
Yeah, so
I would think that'd be game one.
Yeah. So, that last game against Minnesota, it'd be interesting to see how that game is played.
That's 8:00 on ESPN Plus and Hulu.
Well, I'm just saying I think it could be a physical style game. I mean, you're trying to set the tone, so that'll be a good game to watch.
The interesting thing is that the Mark Stein Bowl, Stars in Buffalo finish up the regular season in Buffalo on April 15th too. So that'll be a fun one. I think you're right. I think the Stars are not afraid of the Minnesota Wild. I think in previous seasons they felt they were the better roster.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have Quinn Hughes. They've added some pieces. Yep. They're better. They got Bobby Brink, if that does anything for you.
Well, the guy that really is obviously had a big game in the gold medal is they got Matt Boldy.
Well, he's a great player.
He's just taken another step.
And they have Kaprizov, who's also really talented.
Yeah.
I think Boldy is unbelievable.
Yeah,
they're
going to be, and they added some little bit of size here and there, and some.
What do you think, Matt? What do you think Quinn Hughes does for young Brock Faber to have him to learn from and watch all the time? That can't be a bad.
Well, it couldn't be good and bad, but especially if they're playing together. I mean, again, you could catch them both up ice, but I'm sure they have these kind of conversations where you got to make sure that we're both not on the same wavelength as far as moving forward. But I think Brock is a special talent too. But again, with Hughes, I saw Hughes the other night, and I think it was in the probably in the 3-on-3. He was out there for 2 minutes.
No, it was today.
Was that today?
It was the Colorado game. Today? He was out for the first 2 minutes of overtime.
It's crazy. Like he doesn't look any different going off and coming on and sitting on the bench. He is a specimen. And he's fun to watch and he's dangerous. And you can see on the goal that it went today. It went over to Kaprizov and then to Boldy for that little shot pass thing.
A little redirection.
They are in sync. So.
And it was a time where it was Zuccarello and Kaprizov was the duo. And Zuccarello's a great passer, but when you get Boldy going, that's they have some pieces now, I think, and their goaltending figured out. They're a much better team. I still don't know if I'm overly scared of them, but I think that it's going to be a much tougher challenge to get by them.
Yeah.
And they'll have to play them. All right, let's go to the next one. Matthew Lab with a Casey DeSmith and 99 Cup here. 3 OT wins in a row in the 99s. Brett Hull mojo. There you go.
Yeah, that'd be nice. A little Hully.
And as Lud says all the time, it doesn't matter at the end of the season whether you had to rally in overtime to beat teams that aren't even close to a playoff spot, because at the end they look at the record and go, hey, you had so many wins.
Yep, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Got to beat NHL teams. Our next one is actually a supporters club message from Otters Better, member for 1 month of the Hall of Fame level. What are the chances we get first in the division? What do you think, Lutz? Do you think that changed for the negative because they didn't win that game on Friday in regulation? Because that would have helped.
I haven't looked at what the strength schedule is, but I just see with the Colorado and the addition to or bringing in 91 Kadri, it gave them a bump. If you didn't see it, there was a goal scored by McKinnon again today.
He does that.
But it was Kadri that gave him the pass, and I've never seen this from McKinnon in any of the goals that he's ever scored, which is a lot of them. He acknowledged Kadri with the shake of the hand and the pointing back, and all that told me is they're so excited to have him back, and they probably believe, that's an important piece for them. I mean, now you look down the middle, if you got McKinnon and you got Nelson and you got Kadri, and they got Waugh there, so down the middle of the ice, which is important, is a big thing. And right now they are probably set up as the best team in that position.
You ready to hear the opponents? Okay, so this is Colorado's rest of season. So they just beat Dallas here in a shootout and then Minnesota at home in a shootout. They play Edmonton on Tuesday night. Could be a really interesting game or not. We'll see what Edmonton can do defensively. Then they're in Seattle. They have 3 of their remaining games against the Winnipeg Jets, 2 of them on the road. Pittsburgh and Dallas at home, Chicago and Washington and Pittsburgh on the road. So they get the Penguins twice. They haven't played Pittsburgh yet.
Without Crosby or Malkin.
Well,
because Malkin's got 3 games left.
Yeah, it'll be close.
Crosby is probably at least a week or 2 away.
I heard that he
he's practicing
push a little with Malkin.
And why would he push?
It would make no sense unless he thinks that the Penguins are in danger of falling out of a playoff spot. So 3 games against the Jets, 3 against the Flames. They haven't played Calgary yet this year. They'll get 3 of them. 1 more
How
against...
many times they play Vancouver?
Well, they've got 1 more against Vancouver. Yeah. Another one against Dallas. This is in Dallas.
Do they play Chicago?
They, I believe, yes, in at Chicago. 2 against St. Louis. Yeah. But, Sluds, another game at Edmonton, Vegas, and 2 against the Seattle Kraken. Their schedule is not as hard as the Stars, but
stranger things have happened.
Yeah, we'll see what it goes. All right, let's go to the next Super Chat. I Love Misty 1985 with a second one. This one is a Heiskanen and a Ludwig. I'm still in Arizona, so no time change for me. That's right, because they stay on standard time all year long. All right, our next one belongs to Clorotis, which is a Heiskanen 99 Cup year. After seeing the Buffalo-Tampa game and how it ended, could we see a 99 Stanley Cup final rematch? Both teams could make it. Would be fun. You'd sign up for it in a heartbeat because it means the Stars got to the final.
Absolutely. And Buffalo's legit. They made some depth moves at the at the trade deadline here, add some weight and some size to their team. So, and they have been rolling. I think there's belief there. And the best thing for Buffalo is Buffalo. The fans who've been sitting
Ryan,
there
do you
for
have
15
the out-of-town
years
scoreboard?
waiting.
Luds, if you look at the standings after that game today, look who's leading.
Buffalo's probably on top.
First place, 2 point.
Yeah.
They've won 7 games in a row. They have 84 points, so they are first in the Atlantic Division. They had an 8-7 comeback win. They had a big lead. Tampa rallied. They had a 7-5 lead, and Buffalo rallied and won it in regulation. Apparently, that game was just insane. So right now, Buffalo is up by 2 points, although Tampa does have 2 games in hand.
Yeah.
And then you have Detroit in third, Carolina leading the Eastern Conference with a 2-point edge over the Sabres. Pittsburgh, Islanders, the other division spots with Montreal and Boston.
The important thing to remember about Tampa Bay is I think Vasilevsky is playing the better hockey he has in a couple years. But
Except for the other night when we watched him.
Yeah, but Tampa Bay's got it. They've added some.
Yep.
They've added some toughness to their game. I mean, and it started in the preseason with Florida. They said we're not gonna. This is who we're gonna be. We're gonna fight our way back into the playoffs. They add Corey Perry. What does Corey Perry do tonight in his first game?
Scores a goal for the Tampa Bay Lightning in his first game.
Didn't he get in a fight
he
too?
He had a 5-minute major. He had
Corey Perry's here.
10 minutes of ice time.
10 minutes of ice time.
He had 8:54, I think, was his official one. And if I can pull it up really quickly here, we'll see what Corey Perry's penalty was for.
Well, if he got a 5, it probably had to be for.
There were a lot of 5s in this game. Apparently, very, very.
How many minutes to have total in that game?
About 102, I think it was.
It's a good game.
Luds,
entertaining game. And you get 15 goals and a couple fights in a game. That's a hockey game. Today's game.
Honestly, it sounded like a fantastic contest. There it is. He fought Beck Mallenstein, that big, tall, former Washington Capitals forward who plays in the depths. So he fought. Think about this, Lud. Second period, there was a fight. 2 seconds in, Kesselring and Chernak, 2 defensemen. And then Perry and Mallenstein fought 4 seconds later on the next faceoff.
Yep. There you go.
Sounds like old-time hockey right there. Okay, I want to bring up something tomorrow because we have to work.
Okay, wait, I got to bring up something first before I forget.
I won't let you forget, I promise.
Okay, as long as I don't forget.
I want you guys to think about this because it's been a long time since a Canadian-based NHL team won a Stanley Cup. In fact,
Montreal
in 1993. Yeah. Now, it wasn't your Montreal team. Nope. You guys won in 87? 86. We're going to talk tomorrow briefly if we have some time. There's not a whole lot of hope. Who is carrying the Canadian mantle this year? Are there many? Because most of them are not playoff teams, and they were sellers, including the Maple Leafs. So we'll get into that a little bit tomorrow. But you have something you want to shout out before we sign off today.
We have to send a congratulations out to Kim. Kim is now a grandmother.
Oh,
a grandma. Hey. Well, there is her son, Jake, and Allison, and that's Sawyer, 9-pound Sawyer.
Ooh, big boy.
So, yeah, and Allison was in labor for 15, 20 plus, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Hours?
Yes.
Oh.
So yeah, there's a trooper. So apparently if Kim is a grandma, do I have to buy those granny panties for her? Them big baggy undies or whatever? Is that the deal?
I mean, that's the name of them.
Is that protocol? What do you do? What do you do for a new grandma?
Personally, I think I would
Is
say
that not it?
no.
Ryan's going, you dumbass. Like, did you just say that?
Yeah, I would say that there are probably other ways you could do that. But you could. Okay. You could take her to an early bird special dinner at 4:30 or something.
A.M.?
P.M.?
Oh.
You're still awake on 4 a.m. though. Yeah.
Okay. We were leaving dinner last night too, and we had been there for a little bit, and finally everything happened and cashed out in the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
right?
and
then the call came.
Yep.
And then all I heard her say is, "I'll have a martini," and so then so there we go.
You got to get your strength before the head to the hospital. Yep. So there you go. Big win tonight for the Stars. As you can see, it's going to be absolute chaos as Ryan was showing you some of those scores. Avalanche with 95 points. The Stars second in the league with 88. Carolina with third, 86. And then those Buffalo Sabres right there. But guess what? Minnesota Wild have 85, so they're better than Buffalo by a point too. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 of the top 4 teams in points-wise in the league are the top 3 in the Central.
Yep.
So 20 more games. Well, 19 now today. That was 63. We should be expecting a fun, full show tomorrow. We'll do our 3 stars of the week. We hope you enjoy all the coverage here on DLS. If you do, like and subscribe. Help us out. Support us. Become a diehard. For our producer, Ryan Vaughters. For Sam Nestler over at American Airlines Center. And for the new step-grandfather, maybe? I don't know what title he's...
I got 5 of my own.
And enough. He doesn't need any more, but congratulations, Kim. For Craig Ludwig, I'm Owen Newkirk. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 o'clock, right here on DLLS.
Slutty milkshakes.
We all silly like the mayor.